Do you know that in America, you can be fired from your job for refusing to be racist towards white people? Do you know that in America, you can be denied a promotion, not because you are incapable, but simply because you are white? The blatant racism against white people is so alarming to the point that corporate businesses and educational institutions are not even afraid to participate in it. This is Isaac Newman, a teacher in the Elk Grove School District. He recently took a bold step by filing a federal lawsuit against the Elk Grove Education Association, which is a local affiliate of the National Education Association. Well, if you're wondering why, this is the reason why.
An Elk Grove teacher is suing his own union for discrimination. In this Politics at Large report, he says the union won't let him apply for a position on their board because he's white.
Have to actually check the box in order to move on.
High school history teacher Isaac Newman thumbed through the discrimination lawsuit he filed against his own union.
So you didn't check the box?
I wasn't willing to lie on the form.
After he tried applying for a newly created Black, Indigenous, People of Color board member seat. The position only open to candidates who self-identified as a member of a list of racial or ethnic categories.
African American, Native American, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian.
Whyte was not on the list.
I was banned from a leadership position simply because of the color of my skin.
Do you want this position? Do you want to be in this position, or do you want this position eliminated?
Ideally, the position should be eliminated. I ran for it because it was a way to fight exactly what they're doing here.
I would eat my hat if he loses this case.
Civil rights attorney Jeffrey Kravitz says the application process is a textbook case of discrimination based on race.
This is blatant discrimination. They're essentially saying the people who are not of the racial qualifications that they are favoring for this position may not apply.
They think that discrimination today can solve discrimination yesterday.
Now this history teacher is suing for his civil rights, claiming his own union banned him from a board seat over his race.
This is the only one, to my knowledge, in the entire country that has ever been limited by race.
We'll see how it plays out. The Elk Grove Teachers Association declined to comment for this report, citing the ongoing litigation.
When I say that diversity, equity, and inclusion is only designed to favor non-whites, you have to take me seriously. This man is suing his school for discriminating against him and preventing him from getting promoted to a higher position simply because of the color of his skin. So much for inclusion in the workplace. If you think that it's okay for everyone to feel included in the workplace except white people, then you must be a really awful person. What happened to the Civil Rights Act? What happened to the law prohibiting discrimination based on race? Because I refuse to believe that a teachers' union law will supersede the American civil rights law. Let's put this whole thing into perspective, okay? An organization who claims to be diverse and inclusive, and I repeat, inclusive, is looking for a candidate among their workers to fill an executive position. They invite all their workers from different walks of life, Black, Hispanic, Asian, Native American, Native Hawaiian, etc. Everybody except for one race, and that is the white race. They literally said, you are all invited to participate except you are white. In this organization, you will be marginalized if you are white. Your opportunities will be limited if you are white. You will be discriminated against if you are white. We will not be fair to you if you are white. We will be racist towards you if and only if you are white. Now, this is not the views of maybe a person of color who happens to be racist towards white people. Rather, this is the rules of a recognized organization. In this case, the views of Elk Grove Education Association. And you know what? This is not okay at all. It is an attack on white people, and I solidly support the lawsuit against this organization for perpetrating this discriminatory act towards this white teacher. There is an attack on white people going on today, an attack from every angle, from individuals and from organizations. There is not a day that goes by on the internet that I do not come across videos upon videos made by persons of color abusing and dunking on white people for just being white.
I would say our country should be more fearful of white men across our country.
We are seeing the same treatment towards white people in institutions and organizations where white people are being denied promotions, not because they are not qualified for it, but simply because that institution values racial variety over qualification. White people are being stigmatized and antagonized. They are constantly being portrayed as the enemy, okay? This narrative have been so normalized, so much so that if you are non-white, and you refuse to hate on white people, then you will be seen as a rebel and you will be punished. This was exactly what happened to Dr. Tabia Lee. She was hired to lead the DI department at the Anza College, but within 2 weeks, she was called the wrong kind of black woman and also a dirty Zionist for trying to create an inclusive environment for everyone, including white and Jewish students. In 2023, she was fired for practicing correct inclusivity.
One of the early meetings after the first few, I set up a Google Doc. And as I was explaining the Google Doc, one of the team members said, stop what you're doing. And I was kind of, taken aback. And I was, okay, listening. And they said, what you're doing right now is you're white speaking and you're white splaining. To have myself as a racialized black woman, called being a supporter of white supremacy, it felt very bad and wrong. The faculty director for the Office of Equity, Social Justice, and Multicultural Education at De Anza was a job posting that I saw. And going through the interview process, it seemed like it was a place that was very open. So I was just thrilled, to have this opportunity to be able to share the things that I had learned over, 30 years in this field. To me, even if I disagree with someone or we have a difference of opinion, I can still work with that person. But unfortunately, my office mates and my supervising dean did not return that collegiality to me. I became persona non grata. I was not welcomed. I was undermined. I was actively excluded because I was identified as someone who was not focused on decentering whiteness. This was a term that came up constantly. One time we were talking about the Women, Gender, and Sexuality Center, and one of the coordinators had gotten a complaint that white faculty members were saying they didn't feel comfortable coming to the center. And so my team started to talk about, what are we going to do about that? And she said, nothing. She said, we haven't made this space for white people, it's for people of color. It was clear that we were operating differently and had different approaches, and my approach wasn't allowed to coexist with the approach that was preferred by a small but vocal group of individuals. From the beginning, my tenure review process was subverted for purely ideological reasons. As I would be observed by evaluators, I would receive feedback that, didn't align with what actually took place in the workshops, and that attacked me for the approach that I was using, basically. One of my evaluators actually used profanity with me and told me how inappropriate and dangerous I was. They said, it's a danger what you're doing. 2 weeks before the committee convened to tell me whether I would advance to phase 2, which is this present year, I was told that we will be voting to not recommend you and it will be unanimous. And I said, well, how can you predict that it will be unanimous? And they said, I'm just telling you it will be because you're not doing what you were hired to do here. You're not representing the ideas that we hired you to represent. That was what was stated to me by this individual. In phase 1, Foundation Against Intolerance and Racism legal team actually intervened, and they said, hey, there's some concerns potentially here. So it was an outside eye looking in that I think reeled back the initial, the group that wanted me to be gone in the first year. You would think that after that happening, and the unanimous decision being overturned, that people would then begin to act in a more civil way, in a way that on our best behavior, now for the faculty director, position, who's complained of these things that have happened for an entire year. That's not what happened. They actually doubled down on the harassment. They doubled down on the bullying and the exclusion. And it was like I was completely marginalized from my leadership role and not able to perform any of the job duties or functions that I was hired to perform. I had to be removed quickly. I was told directly, you are undermining everything we've worked for around anti-racism here. And I even told, one person, I said, why can't we coexist? Why does it have to be, with us, or you must go and you must be eliminated and neutralized? I feel like the push out efforts that were attempted from, my first weeks in have finally succeeded. At one of my tenure review meetings, I told them, I said, I'm not going to resign. This is work that I'm committed to doing. I plan to retire from here. That was my plan, to stay there through retirement. And so I wasn't going anywhere. As difficult as it got, as rocky as it became, I accepted that as part and parcel of the work. That's what transformative work is. My last day at De Anza is June 30th. I'm quite sad about it. I feel like work was just getting started. I think, to me, the threat to our democracy of not speaking up, of not saying something, of not working with other similar-minded individuals are too great. This is like a moment that we have that we can make a positive change, not just in our local communities, but in the nation. It's a world where every person feels free to be themselves and that they're not going to be canceled or eliminated for having a viewpoint that's different or for having an approach to things that are different. There's space for everyone here. And I think that the work that's being done to elevate that importance of civil liberties for all is something that's so crucial and that I hope that we'll continue to contribute to and to advance. It's so needed in this time that we find ourselves in.
This woman was the victim of intolerance, and sadly, this is the same treatment that so many people of color received when they do not view white people as a threat or blame white people for every problem they are facing in the world right now. I, for one, am a victim of this. I receive hundreds and hundreds of criticisms on my platforms, especially from my own people, black people like me, calling me coon, Uncle Tom, just for speaking out against injustice and discrimination towards white people. Okay, most people expect me to have a certain type of opinion towards white people simply because I'm black. But when I bring my authentic self and say things the way I see them, people antagonize and bully me for it. Dr. Lee was fired for not discriminating against white people and Jewish people. And Mr. Isaac Newman was denied a position in his school because he is white. So many white people are facing discrimination and limitation of opportunities in sports, educational institutions, corporate societies, etc. simply because of their skin color. This is not okay. This is textbook racism. This is discrimination, and we all should stand up against this. Now, let me make this clear. If DEI is not for all of us, then there is no need for DEI. If you enjoyed this video, please do well to subscribe to my channel, like and share this video. It is totally free and it will help me and encourage me to keep making more videos. Hope to catch you on my next video. For now, peace.